Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Tia, but you can call me Tia. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about Rescue I Surf, and we already talked about episodes 1 through 3. Now, we're focused on 4 through 7. If you haven't seen the show, please do not watch this. I'm spoiling everything.
We've got 2 kids in a collapsed sandpit. How long's he been under?
6 minutes. He's not breathing.
So in episode 4, we're most so focused on Will, but I do want to touch on the subject of Hina and Prioleau. So at this point, we know that Hina and Prioleau are living together in Prioleau's condo, and it was Laka that convinced them to move in together.
I have to move out of my house.
You live alone, right?
Well, for Hina to move in to Prioleau's place. And Prioleau was fine with it because, I mean, he doesn't want to seem like the spoiled rich guy that cannot be nice. In my opinion, I feel like that's why he said yes. He was like, okay, sure, no problem, whatever. So she's living there, and she's still not that nice to him. In my opinion, if it was me, I would be like, no.
No.
All right, one no would have been fine.
But, I mean, he's a nice person, so she's living there. From the very beginning, Will actually was trying to be a part of the firefighters. He was trying to be a firefighter this whole time from episode 1 until now.
How did the fire department test go?
I killed it.
Finally out of here.
Unfortunately, he didn't make it, and Laka basically told him he isn't really one of them. He is Australian. He came from Australia, so like, he's in Hawaii now. You know, he can't really expect that firefighters will take him on because it's kind of like a traditional thing. So, I mean, I guess Will took that and ran with it. He would say, okay, cool. I guess firefighters isn't for me. And then this episode really, it wasn't really much else that I talked about for this episode.
Is that a shark?
Other than, you know, Emily and Will kind of still have a little thing happening, but we'll talk about that in a few more episodes because it does touch on episode 7. I will talk about it in a few, but let's talk about episode 5 because episode 5 was kind of crazy.
60-foot seas, the most dangerous ocean conditions we've seen in years.
I feel bad for Hina. Remember I said I didn't like her? I still don't, but I feel bad for her for episode 5. So episode 5, Prioleau was actually with his dad because in the beginning of his shift, his father texted him and was like, hey, family emergency, can you come? He came, of course, because it was a family emergency. He should have known it wasn't. So he showed up to the location his father gave him, and it wasn't a family emergency. It was just him trying to get his son to do whatever he wants because he can. Prioleau finally stood up to his father, which was great, but now he has to pay for the condo because he said he would. He's also living there with Hina, so now Hina has to pitch in, and Hina has this whole situation happening in this whole episode. Prioleau doesn't know, but we will talk about that now. Hina was there on shift, and there were some surfers that, you know, had a situation happening. Emma was off, so she was one of the surfers that was having fun. And in this situation, not all the surfers made it.
You ready?
I'm born ready.
Let's do it.
And a rescue gone wrong.
Watch out!
I lost him!
No!
What happened?
threatens to tear the team apart.
So the surfer did not make it. We can say it's Henna's fault, but in my opinion, she is a small girl, so she couldn't really hold him that much. Like, he was a grown man, and the water, like, he was underwater, so he was very slippery. And Captain lost it. Sunny, he lost it whenever Henna lost him. So the whole situation, honestly, Henna should have listened. In my opinion, Henna should have listened to Captain. So the guy that they're trying to rescue went under. Henna jumps in immediately, not thinking, because she thinks that she can save him. She jumps back in, and then Captain literally said not to, because if she jumps back in, then they'll have to find her too. It was going to be 2 missing people. But she made it back on to the board, and she said she couldn't find him. And Captain was going to turn back around and go back after Henna said she lost him. But by that time, it was too late, because, it was just too much happening at once. So Henna basically lost somebody while she was trying to save somebody, the same exact person, and it tore up. Captain basically screamed in her face. Emily, who was off shift, the next day, well, later on that day, whenever that happened, Henna was trying to leave for the day. Captain went up to her, yelled at her face, and was just like, "You don't listen, blah, blah, blah." Emily saw that situation. Emily was like, "You're wrong, Captain. Why would you do that to her?"
He's gone! I'm not talking to you!
Get it together or quit.
Henna just shrugged it off and went home. And then whenever she made it back to the apartment, Connolly was there. And then she just went up to Connolly, hugged him, and started crying.
He's alright. Local surf legend dies and she's the last one to touch a body.
I thought they were going to address it in episode 6, because, she was literally crying in Connolly's arms. So, I was thinking that she told Connolly what happened. But I guess she didn't. She didn't tell him, because episode 6, Connolly was lost. He didn't know what was happening. He was just like, "Oh, they're burying somebody. That's really sad. Someone died. I wonder what happened." He wasn't there, so he doesn't know what happened. And Henna was there. And Henna was just like, silent. She was silent.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Is there anything that you can tell me about what happened?
Cap just bailed. He took off.
So Henna goes back home. We actually meet her family. She does not go to the apartment. She goes to her actual house. We don't see her mom, but we meet her aunt for the first time. One of her aunts that's now, probably one of the more reoccurring characters. So we meet her. She basically has a talk with her. Emma, she goes and finds Henna. I think that it should have been Connolly. Anyways, so Emma, she goes and she comforts Henna. She finds her and she's like, "Hey, it's part of the job, blah, blah, blah." She's good to go. Okay? Then Emma has to handle Captain. But we don't know where Captain is. He's doing his own thing. He's riding a motorcycle, almost killing himself.
I had him in my arms.
So, yeah. It's too much. So we finally, in the very end of the episode, Captain returns to work, or I'm not entirely sure if Captain returns to work, but I have to remember. I just know Emma talked to Captain, and Captain finally talks to Hannah, and Hannah is good to go again because Captain apologizes, and then, they mend everything up. And then at the very end, Hannah and Emily go out to shore and honor the surfer that passed away. Again, I think that Connolly should have been put in the loop more. He doesn't know. He still barely knew what happened. I don't know what they're doing to Connolly's character, but I'm not entirely sure if him and Hannah would be love interests. I don't know. I kind of don't see it anymore. Okay, last episode, episode 7. So this episode, they don't talk about the surfer because it's done and over. But we do hear about the bike situation with Captain again. I thought his wife was MIA or something, but she's just a nurse who has to work a lot. So I guess she's barely in the picture. On the first 3 episodes, she was barely in it because, well, she wasn't in it because she was a nurse. I guess that's what they're going with. So in this episode, episode 7, the mom is actually in it more. The daughter is in it, but the daughter isn't really in the situation with the vehicle, with the motorcycle. The wife is on Captain Sonny and is like, you're being reckless. What is this about the bike? What happened to the motorcycle? What is wrong with you? They go and get the motorcycle and they bring it back home. That's it with that. They don't really touch much on that situation. Only because, they just had to find the motorcycle. And the wife had to see that it was still okay. It was still rideable. Emily and Will are back on there. So the fiance basically tells Will he doesn't want Emily at their wedding, which I understand because they work together all the time. They used to live together. Yeah. Emily basically has an attitude about it and is dismissing Will. If you don't really care about the wedding, then why would you say you don't care about the wedding? I think that Emily is wrong in all of this.
You lived with her for 3 years. You wanted to marry her. She's not coming to our wedding.
Wait.
I agree with that. Laka finally hits it off with the paramedic. Finally. I was gunning for them from the beginning. So that's a happy ending right there. And there isn't really much with Connolly and Hannah in this episode, but the auntie does show up again. She goes to the apartment, the condo, and Connolly's like, boundaries, we need boundaries. And Hannah's like, what boundaries? We're family, blah, blah, blah. What? So auntie finally talks to Connolly, and they're okay, they're vibing, but auntie thinks there's something there. So
Life-changing events
Got recommended for a job on Hawaii.
I would miss you.
could alter the team forever.
I can't keep going on like this. I know you want to be captain. Are you ready?
thank you for watching, and remember to always be the best you can be, because only you can be the best you can be. Till next time. Cup of tea.